Hi, welcome to another Beer Garden podcast, and it's a live one tonight. Looking forward to the great action at Charene on Sunday, joined as usual by Nathan and Charene. Nathan, I think you're doing rather well with your tipping in Oz at the moment.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it's been good. The last couple of days, we had a big Saturday at Randwick yesterday and also Sandown. So it's good to find a few winners there. And now hopefully today at Charten because we've got a massive card and I'm keen to rip in, see how we feel about the sprint. Obviously, Lucky Swainers versus Wellington and maybe a few spanners in the works as well. So really excited to talk about that.
Yes, looking forward to it. I was just going to say, you say you came from Tamworth. I was having a chat with my work colleagues, and they were saying it's kind of home to the country and western. There's a lot of country and western there.
There is, yeah, very sort of country music capital of Australia. So we recently had the festival, so it was chock-a-block for a while there. It was very packed town, so good revenue for the town. So it was a big couple of months. So but very busy. So you can imagine the month was quite full. So no, it was great to have a lot of people around town, a lot of people interested in Tamworth, which is kind of different. We're not really known for too much, so it was nice to have some people around and sort of get asked about the local, whatnots, and even the track, even the local track. We had a race day, Tamworth Cup Day, and things like that. So yeah, it was really fun to get out and about and have some conversation with the resident punters. So no, it was good fun.
Sounds good. I must come over someday. Charene, you're looking forward to the Centenary Sprint Cup?
Yes, definitely. A massive card ahead today. There are two good races, and including the Centenary Sprint Cup. It is a good one. There are so many good sprinters here, so I'm really looking forward to today. And also, it will also be a good day of racing because the weather should be good. Although the weather forecast is saying that there should be a few showers in the afternoon in Hong Kong, but I don't think the rainfall will affect the track conditions. So it will still be a good surface at Charten, so really looking forward to that.
Yeah, can't wait. So we're looking at race 8, the Centenary Sprint Cup over the 1200 metres, a Group 1 event. And then in race 9, it's over the 1600 metres all the mile. That's a Class 3, very open event, that. And to end proceedings is race number 10. It's again a Class 3, but over the sprint distance of 1200 metres or 6 furlongs, depending on where you are. Right, we'll start with Nathan. Who do you like in? And of course, should I say, we also have our best bet and value bets after that as well. Nathan, who do you like in race number 8?
Yeah, well, that's the feature, the Centenary Sprint Cup. And for me, I just kept landing back with Lucky Swainess. I'm with the favourite here. I thought its run in the Hong Kong Sprint, going back to that, I mean, what a forgive it was. Never saw daylight. Zach Burton, drew the inside, got caught on the rail. And all credit to Wellington and Ryan Moore with an absolute peach of a ride from back in the field. It was an outstanding win. And I'm not disrespecting Wellington at all here. I think he's the Hong Kong sprinting champ for a reason, similarly to Golden 60 in the mile last weekend. I mean, it's hard to be fully disrespecting of him. But gee, Lucky Swainess, I thought would have gone very close. He was hard held on the inside. Burton just couldn't get clear. And then we saw him subsequently come out over the 400 metres in the Chinese Club Challenge and absolutely demoralised his opposition. Yes, it was only a Group 3 and it was 400 metres. So I thought that was interesting that they stepped up in trip. And it was a pretty dominant win, I thought. It was only 1.5 length margin between him and the rest of the field, but I thought it was pretty soft. Burton was looking over his shoulder the whole time. He was very soft to the line. And it was almost a bit of a barrier trial, really, to go out, get that kill, and now come back to what has been the plan ever since they did find bad luck in the Hong Kong Sprint coming here to take on Wellington. Look, barrier 8 is probably the only query. Gets a bit of an awkward draw. Not sure where they end up with, but the thing that I found interesting was I think it is that Master 8 drawn is inside. I think that's the horse that's going to ping the lids and go forward. And for me, if Burton can just follow that horse and get its back, I think he ends up in the 1-1, or at least maybe even lead us back if they overdo it. So if that happens, and that's how I've got the race mapping, he gets a beautiful run in transit. Wellington should draw as well and should run well as well. But the outsider I didn't mind that a bit of a price was Skyfield. I thought that was the one that could run a race. It'll get back in the field. It'll run on really nicely, but I don't know if it's going to be giving them too much of a head start, particularly Lucky Swainess. As I said, from the draw, I see him going forward, finding a spot, and I just think he's too good. And the key factor is last time he won at Group 3 level, he comes back in the weights to meet him at level weights again here. He had to carry the big 135 pounds that day. He comes back and gets 126. So interesting that he gets back in the weights. I know it's a set weights race now, but interesting that he does get the weight off from that win. I think he's the class. I think he deserves to win a Group 1, and hopefully that's today. I'm with Lucky Sweynesse.
So that is Nathan goes for number 2, Lucky Sweynesse. Made some nice words there about Skyfield. You pleased to hear that, Charene?
Yes, I think so. Of course, there should be so many top sprinters in this race, but I think Skyfield this time, ridden by Hugh Bowman, is having quite a good chance here because he is really fit enough. Last time in the Bohemia Sprint Trophy, the Group 3, he carried the top weights and he chased really well from the back. At that race, Side Success was the winner, but this time all the 8 runners in the field, because it is a Group 1, so all of them will be carrying the top weight. So I think it is quite a good chance for Skyfield to turn the table. And of course, there is Will Wellington here. He is no doubt the best sprinter at the moment in Hong Kong, but I'm just a bit afraid of his fitness level, because on his recent barrier trial, he seems not to be really fit enough. So I'm quite afraid of that. But of course, he's really classy. He's a Group 1 winner in Hong Kong, and Lucky Swain is an up-and-coming 4-year-old, and possibly after this race, he is heading to Dubai for the sprint race over there. But this time gate 8 is a big concern, but of course he has Zach Purden on board and he's really likely to overcome it. But Side Success this time, I think over 1200 meters, he is not really strong comparing with the 1000 meter over the straight line last time out. So Skyfield seems very honest. So in this season, he never win any race, but I think this time there is a really good chance for him to have some breakthrough. He's very honest and always have some good turn of foot in the home stretch. So this time, hopefully, there should be some speed in the race, because Master X from gate 7, he is the likely leader, and also Courier Wonder from gate 4 should also have some good speed. So Skyfield can possibly stay in a good position, and hopefully he can chase well again in the home stretch and win the first race in this term. So I will go for number 4, Skyfield.
So number 4 for Charene, Skyfield, and I agree with you. I'm also going for Skyfield. I think that to be honest, I think Lucky Sweynesse is the most likely winner. Between the two of them, you've got Wellington and Lucky Sweynesse, and I prefer the younger horse. I think it's got more potential. And of course, if it wasn't for Wellington's exploits, winning the Premier Bowl and the Longines Hong Kong Sprint, Richard Gibson would actually find himself on the bottom of the trainers' table, as it is, thanks to both Wellington's wins. He's actually second from the bottom. Poor Tony Millard that's propping up the table at the minute. Skyfield, he's a nice horse. You have to go back 11 runs for his last victory, but he's a nice son of deep field. He's been in good form this season. Twice a close-up third to Wellington in the Premier Bowl and the Longines Hong Kong Sprint. And last seen filling that position again in the Bohemia Sprint, as Charene says. And of course, that was over an inadequate 1,000 metres. Stayed on the outside rail and never near a third. It's a good run as well. But and yes, I always think sometimes when you have these showdowns with the two horses, I think one tends to bomb out. I mean, last week with the Stewards Cup, it kind of delivered, didn't it? The 3 you expected, but I think they were sort of nailed on to be the front 3. I think this is a bit more tenuous. I think Wellington, for me, for all that he's a good horse, I agree with Charene. I think if there's a weak one of the big 2, I think it's probably Wellington now. And obviously, Lucky Sweynesse, his 8 runners, he's drawn 8. But we've seen before, if you're a good horse, you'll win from anywhere. Looking at the others, Master 8 won a nice trial recently. A few of the horses were in behind, but it's a different story, isn't it? Having a trial and actually being on race day. And his form this season has been rather patchy. Duke Y runs well, but up against the sprinting top table, he generally runs well, but falls slightly short. And Courier Wonder has something to find on ratings, but I wouldn't entirely rule him out. His last run, or his penultimate run, was a very good 4th. And I don't think the Bohemia Sprint over the 1,000 metres was ever going to suit him. It's interesting that Zach Purden rode him that day, though, took over from Luke Curry. And Luke Curry's got a nice horse here. He's an interesting horse. He's good price. He could well make the frame. And super wealthy, despite being drawn 1, you'd have to think he's up against it in this field. So I shall go for Skyfield. I think at the value, probably $8, $9. I think he's the each way option. In fact, if you were looking for maybe a bet without Lucky Sweynesse, I think it'd be an interesting bet on Skyfield. I can see Lucky Sweynesse, if he was winning, I could see Skyfield chasing him home under Hugh Bowman. Yeah. Just to recap then, Nathan has gone for number 2. Lucky Swainess and Charene and I are in agreement. Number 4, Skyfield. We'll keep our fingers crossed there, Charene. Now then, we're going to... Yes, we will. Everything crossed. Race number 9. This is a cracking Class 3 over the 1,600 metres. Take your chance here with... I think anything could win here. Nathan, who do you like?
Oh, you're spot on, Steve. I'm with you 100%. I think this is a race where you can make a case for nearly the entire field. I think there's an argument to be made. I'm going very wide in my exotics. There's no doubt about that. But for me, there's an interesting runner here. Comes from Australia first up for Danny Schum, and that's number 5 here, Romantic Charm. I think it's open around $9, which is a good indicator that it's going well. I thought it trialled really nicely on the all-weather last time. It actually chased home in behind MM Nebula. In behind him was Glorious Dragon. That's running in the Vars earlier in the day. So you get a nice little guide there. But also, around the same trial was Massive Action. And Massive Action's been going really, really well on the turf. Thought it was a nice trial as well. And so you can tie the form in a little bit there. Does come here first up off a very long break, 400-plus days. But if you go back to its Australia form, it was actually trained by Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr., who is a very, very good combination here in Australia. Won a Group 2 Sandown Guineas at Caulfield, and the win was outstanding. This horse was called Blue Army in Australia. It was a really, really good win. Go back to his form. He had 3 starts, 2 wins and a placing, all really impressive runs. And so despite the long break, and I think the 2 barrier trials are really, really key here. He looks fit, gets to the mile first up, shows intent to me. I think this horse is going better than maybe the trials suggest. I think it was nice work, but in a race where you can go pretty wide, I feel like this is the one I want to take a risk on at each way odds. And I think you look at its Australian form, in that win in the Group 2 Sandown Guineas, it actually beat a horse home called Cardinal Gem. Now, Cardinal Gem went to our 4-year-old, essentially a 4-year-old race, our 4-year-old series, the Golden Eagle, and ran outstanding. So you can tie the form in really well to that age group. So at around $9, I think it's a great each-way prospect. I like the trials. Gets in on 131 pounds. Weight's not too bad. And on a rating of 76. Now, is this a horse that going forward they want to try and get it into the 4-year-old series? I think they might. And so for me, that they want to come here first up and really want to show their hand early, I think he's got to be competitive here. We get Karis Teeton, we get a nice barrier draw. He can go find maybe 3 pairs back, 1 off. I think he's a cracking price at $9. I'm happy to make him a value runner of the day, Romantic Charm. I think he's got a bit of X factor about him. It's one of those ones where I feel like he's going to come out and show a really bold showing, or he's just not going to acclimatise properly to Hong Kong racing. But I'll take the risk at the price. So for me, I'll go with Romantic Charm. I think he's a nice each-way bet on his Australian form and what I've seen so far at the trials over at Charene.
So Nathan makes a very good case there for number 4, Romantic Charm. What do you think, Charene? Do you agree?
Yes, actually, I do. I have the same pick as Nathan. First of all, in this race, it should be quite interesting because there is a field of 14, but most of them are 4-year-old. So I'm just thinking the 4-year-old are fighting hard so that they can participate in the second leg of the 4-year-old series, which will be Classic Cup over 1,800 meters. So I will first put my priority for the 4-year-old runners in this field. And of course, the debutant Romantic Charm is quite a good horse because he is also owned by the same owner as Romantic Warrior, Mr. Lau, who has a good relationship with Karis Teeton and trainer Danny Shum. And then hopefully we can see this partner to have some good results as well. And also Nathan just mentioned a lot about his overseas form for Romantic Charm. He's already a Group 2 winner. And sometimes when we see some horses coming from overseas, especially from Victoria, because the track there is anti-clockwise, and in Hong Kong at both Charene and Happy Valley are both clockwise. So maybe it's the horses need to take some time to adapt to the new environment. But Romantic Charms during the barrier trial, he showed a good balance for the turn. So hopefully the right turn track should not be a problem for him. He's classy and also with some good preparation here. Gate 5 this time is also quite ideal for him, and with Karis Teeton on board, I'm guessing that this horse will be staying in the midfield with cover, so it should be a nice position for him, and I'm really looking forward to him because the other runners in this field they are not really in form, I would say, but Romantic Charm good preparation before the race, and he's really likely to win on debut. So I agree with Nathan, number 4 Romantic Charm for me as well.
I think I'll change my selection.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just joking. It's a good case you both make, though. It's a very interesting horse, Romantic Charm, on his local debut. I went for number 7, Massive Action. I'm sure we all relate to this. I actually tipped it when it finished second on its penultimate start, and then amazingly left it alone when it won next time, which is something that we frequently do and then kick ourselves for. I do like this horse, Massive Action. Vincent Ho takes over this time, and he was only raised £5 for his last run. And I don't think he'll get too much pace pressure for the lead either. I think Drombeg Banner might go on, but otherwise, I think this is quite a hold-up kind of race. He's from gate 7, and I liked his recent trial, actually. I thought it was a nice trial. He actually sat on the outside. He sort of disputed the lead. He didn't look too keen. And I think that would be nice. I think if he doesn't get the lead, I would hope Vincent Ho would actually maybe have him in the box seat. I think he's a nice horse. He's rated 71. I think he's still improving. So that's my selection, Massive Action. But it's, as Nathan and I have said, it's a sort of race where you could just pick anything, couldn't you, really? They've all got good chances. Happy together. Richard Gibson, apart from his terrible stable form, he has had a few runner-up spots. And he's getting closer to the target under Alexei Bedell. And Happy Day as well, Lyle Hewitson. Just double-figured draws for them both, which isn't too easy. And as you say, Romantic Charm, Maldives. Powerful Wings has been a disappointing horse this season. Harry Bentley on board. And I wouldn't discount Eremo. He's £10 above his last mark. But he looked quite good over this trip for the first time. Last time, good fourth, Hugh Bowman on board. A couple of rides for John Size on Sunday. But for me, I shall go for number 7, Massive Action. So just to recap, the Nathan and Charene both going for Romantic Charm number 4, and I'll go for 7, Massive Action. So we now come to the final race on the night. It's a very popular favourite here, and that is, well, we'll get to that. But it's race number 10. It's over the 1,200 metres or 6 furlongs. It's another Class 3. Who do you like, Nathan?
Yeah, I'm with the horse you referenced, Steve. I just think Mighty Stride's the one here. He just profiles really, really well. His 2 wins were outstanding earlier in the preparation when he beat Marvel Dragon, and he beat him well. He was wide. He was no cover. He went forward and was still too good. And the thing for me is his 2 wins, he ran time as well for the class back in Class 4. He ran a 108.7. He was flying and then went up in grade and produced it again. To produce that level, then he won another Class 4, then produced another quality run here in Class 3. Had to carry the weight as well because he only got a very light drop in the weight from going up in grade because his win was so dominant. He should have won last start. He was a good thing beaten, in my opinion, behind the eventual winner, Saquon. And even if you didn't think so, now you're getting a 16-pound swing on that horse now that the claim comes off with Chung jumping on the top weight here with California Rad. So interestingly, I think everything just profiles really well. We get Hugh Bowman on board, and look, he draws barrier 8. He should get a nice enough run, and all he needs is to be sitting in the 3-wide line with some cover, and I think he wins. It's not beauty eternal, but I'm getting similar vibes where he should have been winning last start. He probably should be undefeated and progressing up into the grades. He gets no weight for that loss, which is pretty crazy to me considering he was probably going to win the race had he got clear. So I just think he's the one to be following. The price, you're getting no spoil at the price. I'll agree with you there. He's probably come up a little bit short, honestly, at around the even money because he can do some things wrong. He looked to over race at times as well, a couple of starts back. But I think his class just overcame that. Other interesting horses in the race, I think they're not usual star form. I'm not really too keen on. It was a bit of a blanket finish. So you got not usual star, Mark the Horse, and a few other horses like that coming through that form line. So hard to tie in. The other one that I do want to make a case for, though, is number 8, Dragon's Luck. I thought last time it took a sit. I think this time on Sunday, they can just jump and lead. I think they get a pretty fair lead if they want it. That's how they've been winning their previous starts. This last time they decided to sit because Saquon was in the race, but Saquon's drawn wide this time. So if they don't want it to cross, I think they can jump, they can lead and just hold their position up on the speed. And that'll be the one that Mighty Stride will be chasing home. So they're my Quinella in the race, and the one at odds, I think, is Dragon Luck. But I think class will overcome the barrier here, the awkward draw with Hugh Bowman. I'm with Mighty Stride. I think he's one of the better bets of the day. He's just come up too short, but I think he's the best horse in the race. So Mighty Stride for me.
Number 6, Mighty Stride for Nathan. Charene, I think Nathan mentioned your horse. Who do you like?
Yes, right. Actually, I think there should be several future star in the race, including, of course, Mighty Strike and also Dragon's Luck that mentioned by Nathan. Both of them are progressing quite well. If they keep improving, I think in the coming season they are very, very likely to participate in the big occasions like the group races. But I will go for number two, Seguin, that Nathan just mentioned. He is quite an interesting horse. When I check his form, whenever he can take the lead by himself only, he can keep till the end and win the race. And this time, all I'm thinking is about the speed map, but I think this time Seguin breaking from gate 9, he has good speed to overcome the wide draw. And also Anton Hamlin is good at riding the leaders. So hopefully if he breaks well, he can take the lead again, and which will be his best riding tactic. So all I'm guessing is he can lead by himself only, and he can just lead till the end, just like last time. He's a last time winner because last time he was ridden by Angus Jones with a lower weight, but this time a big concern on him because of the top weight. He will be carrying 135 pounds, but he is also a strong horse. So hopefully, if he can take the lead, he can keep till the end. But of course, I think Mighty Strike and Dragon's Luck are also really, really strong. So let's see whether these few horses can form a trifecta, and we can also have some good results together. So I will go for number two, Seguin, because of a better price.
So Charene goes for a second win there. Number two, I agreed with Nathan. I thought Mighty Stride looked quite good in this. Number six, he was tanking along throughout in the last race, and I feel a bit sorry for Derek Long in some way because had he possibly gone to the far rail, I think he would have probably have won, but he didn't. He cut inside, and he would have won, I think, fairly comprehensively had the gaps appeared. Back in third, I also Dragon's Luck. As Nathan says, lost his unbeaten tag, and ironically been given tricky barriers. He won from both of them. He gets a single-digit barrier and finishes third. But he looks slightly keen at the beginning of the race as well, I think. He's a really nice horse, and we haven't seen the best of him. Could easily bounce back to winning ways. And back in fourth was Phoenix Light. I think he's probably hard-pressed to mix it here. Again, I agree with the form as well of Not Usual Star, because they did tend to finish in a sort of blanket finish that day. There was very little separating all of them. And I think Golden Express is now a non-runner there as well. So he's pulled. He's a scratching for the final race. Thought in the future, Naboo Legend was a nice horse. And of course, Hugh Bowman, of course, rides Our Selection, Mighty Stride. Sylvester the Tudor's got a nice horse here with Naboo Legend. David Hayes. It was a big improvement his third run. He was always up in the van throughout, and it just looks a nice solid type. But again, he's the sort that might need more time. But yes, for me, I think Mighty Stride. Sometimes you think, horses are unlucky, and that was their opportunity, and the next time. But in the case of Mighty Stride, he just looks like a horse that has so much potential, and he was pulling so hard, and yet still finished to good effect. That with clear sailing, and actually a higher draw is probably better because he's a big unit. It takes a while to get into full stride, and you can imagine just coming with a surging run on the outside that Hugh Bowman excels at. So yes, Mighty Stride for me. So just to recap, Nathan and myself, number 6, Mighty Stride, and Charene is going for back-to-back wins on second win, number 2. So we've done that. We shall now come to our favourite part of the show, our best bets. So Nathan, who do you like as your best bet on the night?
Yeah, it's tricky. I thought there was a few really nice bets on the card. There's a few I'm very, very keen on, but I've ended up going nice and early here. We'll go to race number 2 on the card. Number 11, Perfetto. This horse was going really, really well. I love that run in behind Tamara Blitz. Tamara Blitz went up in grade, subsequently ran okay, but the horse in behind that ran third behind Perfetto was a horse called Ching. Now, Ching came out and absolutely spanked them last time. When he stepped up to the mile. I think this horse can do something similar here. Drew barrier 4 last start behind Tamara Blitz. I thought it was a really nice run. Now we get Zach Purton, we get barrier 2, we step up to the mile, and the tick over trial in between runs was outstanding. So I think the horse is still going really, really well. I think it can get its win before it gets down on a rating where it would probably end up be jumping down into class 5 at some point. I think it's better than that. I think it's better than low class 4. I think it can definitely jump up and get this win and then possibly even progress even further. Looks like it'll appreciate the further in trip as well up to the mile by Awesome Rock. Obviously a bit of a staying type, won an Australian Cup over here. So this horse will progress nicely from the mile probably get to around 2,000 meters later on in the preparation, but everything sets up perfectly here. Gets the perfect gate, should get leaders back with Purton on board. Got to take a bit of a Purton tax here at the price. Probably get around 2.5 to 3, somewhere there. But I think that's fair in a field where there's a lot of unknowns and a lot of uncertainty. A horse like maybe Gold Tact is one that I think I could humour at a price, and also even up the top of the page, the Hulk, and the consistency of an Oscar Glory. But for me, I'll go with the up-and-comer, Perfetto. It's got all signs point to yes that he's improving with every run, and now we get Zach Purton on board to solidify that fact, and I think he'll be winning. So I'll go with Perfetto as my best bet of the day. There's a few I'm really keen on, though, and I'm interested to get your guys' thoughts as well, because a few you've both tipped I'm pretty keen on as well. So I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, race 2 for Nathan, the best bet, number 11, Perfetto. As you say, good chance, Purton on board, the son of Awesome Rock. I thought it was interesting. I thought that Max 10 was interesting too. Kind of a tricky draw in that race, but an interesting horse, Vincent Ho, taking over from Ruin Maya. And he really stayed on to good effect, didn't he, the last time? There was no gap for him, and then stayed on to really good effect to finish 4th. And at juicier odds, I also thought Harley Charm was an interesting selection. John Size, he was held up last under Zach Purton last time, and there was no room. When the gap did come, nothing really happened. He just made modest late gains. But I'm always kind of interested in horses that Zach goes on, not necessarily stay on, because I think he probably gives them such a good education and probably tells the trainer exactly what to do with them. So an interesting race, though. Perfetto, a good chance. Palantino Gelding, since trialled well too. So we shall. I'm going back to Harley Charm there, but Perfetto for Nathan. And Charene, who do you like?
Yeah, this time I think it is not easy to find a best bets because there are so many good horses to pick, and hopefully I make a right choice. Because I think this is a race day that will be dominated by Zach Purton, Vincent Ho, Sylvester de Sousa, and Hugh Bowman. So I'm picking the mounts among them. So I will go for Senatoba race in race 7. He is number 2 in that race. It is another feature race for the day. It is a Group 3 over 1,800 meters, but it is not a big field. So I'm suggesting that you should have only a win bet over Senatoba, number 2 in this race. He is a really good horse in Hong Kong, but sometimes he needs to look. He is looking for a longer distance, so there is not many suitable fixture for him. So I know that trainer Fons is planning to send this horse overseas to participate in a longer distance. But this time 1,800 meters should also be okay for him, especially with Hugh Bowman on board. I just checked it before the horse coming to Hong Kong when he was racing in Australia. Hugh Bowman partnered the horse for 2 times, and they finished 1 victory in a Group 3 over there, and also a second in the Queensland Derby. I think it is quite a good partnership. And also recently, Senatuba participated in the Group 1 Hong Kong Fast last time out. But it is quite funny that I didn't expect that he was leading, but he was not leading far. So I think he is still fit enough. And then after coming back from Chong Fa, he is now very fit. And of course, with a barrier trial, very impressive under Hugh Bowman, I think he is now ready for a win. So this time, number 2, Senatoba in race 7 will be my best bet for the day.
So there we are, best bet for Charene, race number 7, and that's number 2, Senatoba. I think you'd agree with that sentiment, Nathan?
Very much so. I'm also very, very keen on Senatoba. I think he's class. I think he's class personified. I thought the Vast run, you can always put a pen through it. It went totally against his pattern. As Charene said, the Hugh Bowman combination with this horse in Australia was enormous. Chris Waller trained it, and it was a cracking horse over here. It's still good over in Hong Kong as well. It's found a couple wins. It's been a while between drinks, but I think it finds a nice race here. Maps well. Everything Charene said out of the same book. I totally agree.
Right, so there we are, agreement there. I went for Money Catcher. We'll see what happens there. So for my best bet, I went for race number 4, the Sam Shing Handicap over the 1,400 meters. A really nice horse for Casper Fowens, number 3, Daring Pursuit. If you remember his debut, we can forget that because along the back straight there was badly hampered. He was caught in the backwash, wasn't he? And his run, you could just put a line through. Came out last time and really ran very, very well that day. And the penny dropped late on, but he went past the leader in the last sort of 50 yards, and he now goes up to 1,400 meters. And I think he achieved the win with apparent greenness. You could see that, but I think that even up £7 to a rating of 59 now, this looks ideal with Vincent Ho retaining the ride. And I think Casper Founds, looking at a video of him today, looks quite sweet on the horse too. I think he's a horse going places. The only thing is, he's a shorter price than I was expecting. He's come up rather short. It's an interesting race. You've got Publicist, another to consider, following an improved run last time. Universal Horizon ran well latest. And he was a good third on his seasonal debut to Good Buddy. Back and forth with Super Sunny Singh, and look what that's done. And D-Star, successful in this grade last month, hanging on from Joyful Genius. But an interesting race. But for me, Daring Pursuit, the 3-horse in race number 4. So just to recap on our best bets, and that goes to race number 2 for Nathan, number 11, Perfetto, and Charene, race number 7, again, number 2, Senior Toba, and I will go to number 4, race number 4, Daring Pursuit for Casper Founds, the 3-horse. Right then, remind us, Nathan, of your value pick on the night, or on the day, should I say?
Yeah, look, Romantic Charm. I just think everything that Charene said and what I referenced earlier, I just feel as though this horse is got some X factor about it coming into this. Everything screams that it's ready, despite the 400 plus days off. Loved its form in Australia. Comes into a race where, as Charene said, there's no horse that stands out. It's a very open race. You can sort of go through the form book and make cases for a lot of them. And those are the races where I tend to go a bit wider and maybe play a few horses on the each way. And that's exactly what we get in this race. Other races where you mentioned like your Daring Pursuits and things like that, they sort of stand out as the runner to be backing. So when it's a bit open, I look to find the value there. And I think Romantic Charm's the one. Looks ready to win. I love the combination, as well as Charene said, with Danny Schum and also Karis Teeton. They got a great profile together. Maps perfectly from barrier 5, gets in well on its rating. And I think if they win this, they probably get into the next leg of the 4-year-old series, which looks like the task they've set for themselves here, coming to this race first up. Love the barrier trials. And I think at the price, you're getting around 9s and about $3 a place on the place line. It looks at an nice each way bet on the card. So Romantic Charm, each way all day.
Sounds good, Nathan. Sounds very good. And Charene, who do you like as your value pick?
So my value bet goes to race 3. It is the only race over the strict horse today. It is a class 3, and I quite like number 2, Show Respect, and I'm going to have an each way bet on this debutant. It is quite funny that he will be carrying the green Yulong silk in Hong Kong, and he is actually the first runner for the Yulong, for the owner, Mr. Zhang. And of course, he is having a global success all over the world, but this is his first Hong Kong runner. So I'm expecting him to have some good performance. And Show Respect is now trained by Douglas White, and this time ridden by Alexis Badel. Before coming to Hong Kong, he was racing in the UK, and he is already a winner over the strict horse over 1,200 meters. So I won't doubt his ability over the strict horse, as long as he's also have some good barrier trial performance in Hong Kong. He is settling well from the UK in Hong Kong, and according to his barrier trial, he was not doing quite well over the turn, but this time I'm not afraid because it is a strict course, because this time breaking from Gates 9 is also quite ideal for a strict race. So Alexis Badel takes the ride with some good preparation before the race, and I think he's now fit enough to have some good performance on his debut. And the price now is 23 to 1, and I think it is quite attractive, and he is likely to be my value bet. So number 2, Show Respect in race 3 will be my value bet today.
So Charene's value bet, race number 3, and that is number 2, Show Respect. Interesting horse. Thought it was one of these meetings where you could really have several as your value bets. There's a really nice open card. I thought race number 6 for myself, thought Excellent Fighter was a good alternative to Supreme Lucky. And even race number 8 with the dead 8 in the Centenary Sprint Cup. I mean, there's probably nothing nicer than Skyfield as a value bet. But I went for the finale, 2 picks in the finale really. I've got Mighty Stride, of course, as the main selection. But I also went to a bigger odds Golden Empire. And that will be roughly probably $22, I think, a nice price. Golden Empire hasn't really built this season on last year's exploits, but he's still a nice horse for Francis Louis, son of Fastnet Rock, but he's becoming better handicapped. And I think return to sprinting could be an interesting proposition under Vincent Ho. If you actually notice, he's got plenty of alacrity from the lids. He comes out really fast. And it was just over 12 months ago when he was scoring over course and distance. He beat some useful sorts that day, Packing Award, Science Patch. He's got a nice draw. He's well weighted. And I just think that, he was third to Sweet Encounter, 2 or 3 runs back. I don't think he's lost it. And I think there's a few horses here. We've talked about the Taboo Legend and all the other horses, Dragon's Luck. But Golden Empire, if he can show a bit of spark back at the 1200, I think he's a very interesting proposition. Let's just go back to look at our value picks then. And where are we? Yes, race number 9 for Nathan, Romantic Charm, number 4. Looking forward to see how that one does. And Charene, race number 3, number 2, Show Respect. And I shall go for the finale. Keep the dream alive to the very end with me. And that is number 9, Golden Empire. Well, I think we've done it. We've covered all the races. We've probably covered quite a few of the 10 without looking at
nearly.
it. Probably covered most of the card. So look forward to the action. 10 races. Nice to have Group 1 action once again. So nice to do a live podcast as well. So until we see you again on Wednesday for Happy Valley, it's good night from us all. And it's good night for me because it's late here. What time is it there, Nathan?
What is the time? We're 11:15. So getting on pretty close to start time for me. So 4 o'clock's the kickoff for Charene Racing. So I'm excited to have an afternoon of racing and maybe catch up with some mates and watch on the big screen down at the local. So it should be good fun.
Sounds fantastic. Charene, what time is it there?
Yeah, it's now 7:40 in the morning. So after having this live, and I'm going to have a big breakfast, and then I will be ready for the big massive day at Charene.
Do you know, I really am in the wrong hemisphere, aren't I? Because we're talking. It's 11:40 now, 23:40. And the racing will start in about 5 or 6 hours. And you do the podcast, you're kind of on a bit of a high after doing it. You're looking forward to the action, but it's time for my bed. And then when the racing finishes at roughly 9:50, I go to work for a few hours at 10 o'clock. So it's a cruel world. Anyway.
No need to sleep for you.
Bag a few winners before you go to work. It's not too bad. Bag a few winners and then off to work.
Exactly. And tell everyone senseless who are not interested in horse racing about how many winners I had. Anyway, until we see you again, it's good. Bye from us all. Bye-bye now.
Bye.